Hello dearest woman and welcome to my channel. I am Monika Håkonsen, a psychic channel of the Greek goddesses. I am a feminine embodiment mentor and a soul gift activator. Here on my channel, you will receive healings, you will receive activations, you will receive channeled messages from the Greek goddesses, and you will receive embodiment practices for you as a woman so you can thrive within your body and within this world, feeling more confident and free and being the authentic you. I'm going to start off with sharing my story, how I went from being a science-based pharmacist to stepping into the realm of spirit, of energy, and of feminine embodiment and feminine living. So it all started some years ago. This was in the beginning of 2022. I was a pharmacist. I was running a high-paced, very masculine-oriented life. I'm going to share a little bit about feminine energy and masculine energy in another video. But for today, let's just say that I was very head-oriented. Even though I was listening to my body then, I was not near listening enough like I was supposed to be. During that time, working as a pharmacist, I was also searching for a way of finding more personal freedom, finding more time freedom to do whatever I want to do, to run my own life. And my days were packed of work, both in the pharmacy, but I also had a hobby on the side, which was containing lifestyle coaching and nutrition coaching, as well as workouts. Everything changed in February 2022 when I woke up one morning and I felt sick. I felt something was off. I felt very dizzy. And in the end of 2022, as you might know, we were in the end of the pandemic. So I thought that I had simply become ill. I took all of the tests, they were all negative, nothing had happened, but I was just so exhausted. I was so tired. And taking a little trip to my doctor, it turned out I was totally burned out. I had run my body to the ground, my nerves to the ground. I was crying for nothing. And my intention with this story is for you who might be there now or have been there and can resonate with my story or pick up some pieces to your puzzle about what might have been going on for you as well. And this might give you the space of carving out your own path from here. So what I did back then was that I sold my apartment. I moved from Oslo, the biggest city in Norway, back home in the north of Norway, in between the mountains, by the sea, and starting to slowly recover. And during this period, right after my burnout hit, I noticed that there was something new happening within me. Because before my burnout, I didn't have the time to sit down and to really feel into my body. I knew that I wanted more time because I felt that I was always running. But at this point in time, I sat down and I started to meditate. I started to just be in stillness and enjoying stillness. And what happened next were that I started to see pictures within my head. I started to feel and see pictures of what I perceived as my spiritual guides. And before this, I was a little bit curious about the spiritual world, but I really didn't have any experiences myself that something like that actually existed. But that was the beginning of me starting to connect to my spiritual guides, and also to start listening to my body and to start listening to my intuition. because until that moment, I have only listened to other people's opinion of what was supposed to be right. What was right for me, what was the golden way to freedom and success, and so on and so forth. But when I started to listen to my intuition, to what I felt was right for me, everything started to shift quite quickly. I felt suddenly that I had the universe in my back, pushing me forward in the direction that was meant for me. And I felt that everything that I needed fell into place in divine timing when I needed it. During that first year of 2022, I had a lot of ups and downs. I was discovering a lot of new things about myself, especially when it came to being psychic. Mind you, I'm not born psychic. I've never been psychic before. I started to feel that my intuition became stronger until this experience happened, but I've never been psychic as a kid or a young adult or teenager. Not ever. But what happened was that I started to see pictures of how people were feeling within my head when I was talking to them or chatting to them. And most of these people were people that were just acquaintances in which I didn't know how they were actually feeling. And that made me realize that, something is happening. I think I'm starting to get psychic. And I've always been fascinated by the spiritual world, but I never believed that that was something that was meant for me. At the same time, throughout my whole life, since I was a little child, I always had this feeling that, one, I'm here to do something specific, something big, and something very unusual, but I didn't know what. I kind of understood after some time that I was here to work with women, but that was basically everything that I knew. I knew that I wanted to help women in some kind of way, but I didn't know how. Secondly, from I was a little child, I always felt that I didn't belong in this world. And during my burnout, which also became my soul awakening, I came to realize and experience that my soul is not from Earth. I have a galactic soul. You might have heard the term starseed, and I started to read a little bit about that, and I came over a specific starseed, and it was almost like I started to remember. I just started bawl crying, and I remembered that I am not from this planet. My home is not here. I'm just here to assist. So I had a lot of very big pieces falling into place in 2022, but I also felt very low, very lonely, and I had many dark nights of the soul where I felt that I was falling down in an endless dark hole and no one would catch me. And you might resonate with this. You might have experienced this as well, or you might experience this now, and I hope that you will find some strength in my story when I tell you that that will just last for a short amount of time, even though it feels like it will never end. But on the other side, you will be transformed, because what is really happening within the dark night of the soul, when you are falling into this black, deep hole, or feeling like you're in this kind of void, it is big transformation of your inner landscape. So what happened when I came out on the other side of all of these dark nights of the soul, I experienced that new gifts have been activated within me. I saw the reality in a whole different way, and the people that were around me and that I interacted with also felt a little bit different when we were talking, also because without me knowing, I was channeling for them. So I'm going to get a little bit into that as well later on. But basically what happened and what really supported me was that in the end of 2022, I just felt so lost. I felt that I needed someone to guide me, and I felt that it wasn't something wrong with my physical body or my mentality. It was my energy body that needed support, and I didn't know how to maneuver through that. So I found, or I believe that I was sent this amazing channel and energy healer. I didn't have a job at that time. When I moved, I quit pharmacy for good. I was so sure that I was never going back. I felt that I was dying slowly having that job. It felt so out of alignment, and it was not corresponding with my values as a human being and what I stand for, and I felt I didn't really have an impact there. So I quit the job and I didn't have any income coming in. But when I saw this program of the channel and energy healer, I just felt that she was speaking to me, and I really felt into my intuition, and I felt my soul saying, you need to sign up to this. And with shaking hands, I actually signed up. And it was a lot of money for me. It was an expensive program that lasted, I think, 3 or 4 months or 5 months or something like that. But going through that experience really changed my life. Having someone who knows how to channel and do energy work, as I'm doing now for my clients, changed my whole life, because you are getting the support that you need at that point in time. It is not a random coaching program where everything is set. That is highly masculine, while a channel program for me is very feminine. It is very flowy, bending. It will never be the same because the people within the group will never be the same. So after that program, I signed up to another program. I also applied for a scholarship in a channeling program called Channeling Spirit Academy. You can also find the link to that under here, and applied for that scholarship. And I just knew that this scholarship is mine. I am supposed to be there, because at this point in time, I understood that I could channel and that I was psychic, and my gifts had opened even more. But I felt that something was missing, because I felt that when I was channeling for people that I just practiced on in this very small beginning of my career, I felt that I should be able to do the healing work here as well, but I don't know how to do that. That was what I felt. But I knew at the same time that I should be able to do this work, because I could see where they needed energetic relief, where the energy was stagnant, what kind of beliefs that needed to change, so on and so forth. But I didn't have the tools then to actually do that. So a few weeks after, I received a mail saying that I won the scholarship for this program and that I was in. And that program also, alongside with the other programs that I took, changed my life forever. Because within just a few months of Channeling Spirit Academy, I understood that I was actually a very good channel already. When I started to understand how my channel worked, I could see, and not to brag, that things that I thought were supposed to be more difficult, and that was difficult for other students to grasp, were very easy, too easy for me to actually grasp. So I thought it was supposed to be more difficult than it actually was, because my soul had already done channeling for so many lifetimes. So it already knew how to channel. It came so naturally and so easy. And seeing my life in retrospect, I've possibly been channeling for a big part of my life now and then without actually knowing it, because I wasn't clairvoyant, meaning that I wasn't clear seeing, but I'm very clear knowing. And that feels like things are just falling into my mind, and I could easily be me that is making up these thoughts or beliefs that are falling in. But when I understood the difference in the frequency of my own thoughts and the messages that were coming in, I started to realize that I have actually channeled for a very long time without even knowing that. And from that point on, things started to change and things kind of sped up a little bit. I started to dive into something that's called the Akashic Records. That is a higher consciousness that is holding all of your thoughts, all of your lifetimes, everything that you've said, everything that is connected to your soul, and everything that exists have their own Akashic records. And I started to dive into that a little bit, and I very easily and very fast saw and understood that this is something that I've done for lifetimes as well. I could open the Akashic records like nothing, and I realized that a year prior I had actually been into the Akashic records as well. And the first time that I intentionally went into the Akashic records, the guides there said or showed me that I have been sitting in the Akashic records for many, many lifetimes, and that I was a very, very skilled on that as well. And this is a point in my story where I felt that I started to understand channeling a bit more, and I also unlocked my healing gifts, my light language, and things started to fall into place. And when I one day channeled my guides and asked about why I did receive the scholarship if I already knew all of this, they said, we needed you to understand and know how skilled you are at channeling already. And that gave me the confidence to really step into what I felt I was here to do. During this year, I felt that I had found what I was supposed to do here on earth, my big mission, who I'm here to help, how I'm supposed to do that. And I've always, as a child and young adult, felt that everybody had their specific skill, something that they were really, really good at, but I couldn't find my skill. I never felt that I really fitted in anywhere. But when I started to open up to this world, to channeling, to energy healing, feminine embodiment, I realized that this is my skills, this is my gifts, this is what I'm supposed to share with the world. I don't have a beautiful voice to sing or are a pro in football or whatever, but I am a pro in this, and I am not afraid to say so. Anyway, long story short, now in the end, I started my business. I started to do Akashic Records readings in the very beginning. That has now turned a little bit into the Oracle Speaks channeled sessions where I'm channeling the Greek goddesses. And in another video, I will explain to you how the Greek goddesses came about and how I became their channel in this lifetime. I also started group programs. My first group program was for other starseeds, and after that I've been running Inner Goddess Awakening, my signature program for women that wants to activate their soul gifts, the psychic abilities, to step into confidence, into their divinity, and to thrive and feel free. I've also had 2 mentorship programs. I started with the Soul Alignment mentorship program, in which that one has turned and formed into being now what I call Iconic Feminine Mentorship Program. The Iconic Feminine is for the woman who is already activated but wants to go even deeper. She knows that she's here for something bigger, just as I knew in the very beginning, but might not know how or whom she is supposed to be, what kind of gifts she is bringing exactly, and also want to connect even deeper into her body. And what is important here for me to say is that all of these gifts, the psychic abilities, the channeling, and a lot of the energy healing, or I would say basically everything of energy healing gifts, is the realm of women. And this is something that I will talk more about in different videos, how the feminine energy is connected to women specifically, how we thrive, and how that comes into manifestation in reality when we embody our divine feminine essence, when we are connected to our hearts, when we have an activated womb in which we are connected to, and how you can live from a feminine aspect. And with that, I say thank you for today. You'll find the links to Inner Goddess Awakening in the show notes, and also the link to my Instagram if you want to follow me there. See you next time. Bye!